A middle-aged woman is withdrawing money from an ATM. She is shaking in fear and also has multiple bruises on her hands, as if she had a fight earlier. Our man, Jack Reacher, is standing behind her, in the wait for his turn to withdraw money. He observes the poor lady and asks if she is in trouble.
Don't turn around. I can help you.
Actually, the lady's car is hijacked and parked at the end of the street. There is her kid inside the car, and there is also the hijacker with a gun who wants the money from the lady. Reacher estimates the whole situation and asks the lady to stay here without turning back.
Stay here. This won't take long.
He goes to the car and beats the hijacker till he loses consciousness. He saves the kid and asks the lady to call the police.
Go in the bank, call the cops, give them these.
After that, Jack Reacher goes to the ATM to withdraw his money. When he checks the receipts of the ATM, there is a secret code message for him. So, he borrows a phone from a thrift shop and calls his old colleague from the military named Neagley. Neagley tells Reacher that their ex-colleague Franz was brutally killed.
Calvin Franz was murdered.
And they don't know the murderer. Hearing this, Reacher decides to quickly go and see the situation. In the past, we see Reacher was a major.
Major Reacher. Hello, sir.
And he had Neagley, Franz, Swan, Dixon, and some other soldiers under him in his unit. They were special investigators who worked together on many cases and also made many memories.
To do that, I need special investigators.
After retirement, the lives of all the soldiers went in different directions. Back in the present, Reacher meets Neagley in a restaurant.
I'm a PI. I can get things.
She tells him that Franz was thrown from a plane into a bare land, and his legs were broken, but by seeing the case reports, Reacher deduces that Franz was thrown by the helicopter because his body reached the ground after being thrown.
He was thrown from a helicopter.
If he was thrown from the plane, his body would be destroyed by the engines due to the acceleration. Also, Reacher speculates that Franz's legs were broken before he was thrown because his clothes have a ferrous component of some iron rod.
He was hit with a rusty iron bar.
Franz was beaten badly, as if someone wanted any revenge or to extract any information. They both tried to contact the other colleagues of their unit but could not reach out to them. Some are out of the city, while others' cell phones are tuned off.
Dixon, Sanchez, and Roscoe. No one's answering.
To look into the matter further, Neagley and Reacher both investigate Franz's wife. When they get outside of the restaurant, we see a man in a black car keeping an eye on them and continuously informing them about all of their movements to someone on the phone.
She just met up with the big one.
At the house of Franz, his wife seems very depressed after the death of her husband. She gives them the key to the office of Franz and tells them that the police have already searched it but found nothing there.
Trash, too. The cops couldn't find anything there.
Our duo gets the keys and goes to check on the office. On reaching the office, they see that everything is devastated there. Even the legs of the chairs are broken to see if there is something hidden inside them.
That's an act of frustration by someone who didn't find what they wanted.
The searcher was looking for something as tiny as could fit into the legs of the chair. Also, by examining the situation of the office, one can say that the searcher was very anxious while searching it. Neagley here deduces that if something so important was in Franz's possession,
Franz was sharp, right?
then he would have hidden it somewhere in front of his eyes, but hidden from everyone else's eyes. There is a locker house in front of Franz's office. Also, Franz's keychains have a key to some locker. So, our duo went to check the locker, but it was closed as it was Sunday.
Shit. It's after 5.
So, they decided to come again the other day. The following day, when they are going to enter the locker room, they think that it would not be easy to find the locker of Franz and also the administration would not allow them. So, they make a plan according to which Neagley would go and distract the man in charge of the lockers and Reacher would check all the lockers on the right side of the room as Franz was right-handed. When Neagley distracts the old man from the locker room,
Hey, how goes it, Albert?
Reacher checks all the lockers one by one on the right side. An old woman suspects him and complains about him to the locker in charge. But before the person in charge comes there, Reacher finds Franz's locker.
No problem. Just got my boxes confused.
In the car, Reacher and Neagley checked Franz's documents and found a USB drive there. Unfortunately, Neagley's laptop doesn't have a specified port for that USB.
My laptop has a different port. I gotta go pick up an adapter.
So, she goes to buy a connector, and in the meantime, Reacher wants to pay a visit to the church. When he is at the church, the father demands some money in the name of salvation.
Well, that is what we give here.
So, Reacher goes to some drug suppliers nearby and beats them. He takes their money and throws the drugs into the sewerage. Reacher returns to the church and hands over the money to Father. Then Reacher and Neagley both go to Neagley's apartment, but they see that the apartment is completely devastated. Someone was there in search of the same thing for which they had devastated the office of Franz earlier. Suddenly, they feel that someone is still there inside the apartment. When they go inside to see who it is, they find out that it's their old colleague David, who came there after hearing the news of Franz's death. But he is not the one who searched the office. He found the apartment in the same condition, so now they are 3 instead of 2 to investigate the matter of their friend's death. Then, Neagley connects the USB drive to her laptop, which is password protected. They have 3 chances to guess the password in 2 minutes.
3 guesses in 2 minutes or the drive's erased.
If they could not, the data on the drive would be erased automatically. The first guess they make is about loyalty, but it goes wrong. Also, the names of some of his favorite sportsmen come to their minds.
I'm gonna try Miles Davis. Franz worshipped the guy.
But the second try also goes in vain. Now, they think about who Franz would take as a hero or idol, and they finalize the name Jack Reacher as Franz's idol. It's correct. They have opened the drive in their 3rd attempt with the name of Jack Reacher. So, Franz used to see Jack Reacher as his idol from his days working under him.
Reacher.
Right, Reacher.
Inside the drive, there is just a list of names with alphabets A and M. Also, there are some random numbers in the data that they could not understand at all. Everything is code encrypted.
Page after page of random numbers. No order, no meaning, nothing.
There is also a proof that someone is targeting the special investigation team members one by one, and now the next on the queue can be anyone among them. The following day, our investigation trio went to another friend's house who worked with them in the special investigation team.
No noise coming from inside. A little New York background music.
There, they find out that the house has been closed for so many days and also smell the dead body of their friend's pet in the room. Looks like no one was there to give something to drink for that pet.
Dehydration. It's a tough way to die.
It means that this friend is also killed by their enemies. When they come out of the house, Reacher sees the same car tailing them that he saw earlier.
Black sedan across the street, couple houses down. Same one as yesterday.
So, he straight goes to that car and kicks at its front, causing the airbags to open. These airbags break the nose of the person sitting inside. Then Reacher pulls the man outside and beats him unconscious. Unfortunately, the man is from the New York Police Department.
Fellas, this was his gun.
And now Reacher is in trouble. They flee from that place before the police officer comes to his senses again. In the car, Neagley reprimands Reacher for not acting by his brain. He should have first listened to that man before attacking him.
What did you teach us? In an investigation, assumptions kill.
When they are in the parking lot thinking about their next move, they see Dixon there. She is also one of the special investigation team and now came there after hearing the news of her friend's deaths.
So, Franz.
Reacher is happy after finding out that Dixon is with them now because she is good with numbers, and they had chemistry between them in the past. After that, they start driving towards Atlantic City to check on another friend who is not picking up their calls. An agent of the enemies in the black car is still following them and informing his boss about each and every movement of our investigators. The boss orders the agent to follow them and kill the whole team in Atlantic City.
I just want them dead by tomorrow.
After reaching Atlantic City, the group checks out their friend's office, which is a mess like the previous ones. Jack finds a picture of his old colleague with a woman at the Lucky Lounge bar.
But she's framed, so she's important.
So, they head there to get some clues. At first, the bar staff doesn't trust Reacher, and they start a fight with him. Also, the woman in the picture tries to escape but gets caught by Dixon and Davis, who are standing outside. The bar staff thought that Reacher and his friends were the ones troubling Sanchez, but as soon as the misunderstanding was cleared, the woman confessed to being Sanchez's girlfriend. She also reveals that Franz was working with his other 2 friends, Sanchez and Orozco. Swan had also come to visit them, meaning that he was also involved in this matter.
Sanchez had left any kind of digital storage device?
She overheard Sanchez saying something about 650 out of 100K each. After that, Reacher and the team decide to stay at the casino where Sanchez and Orozco used to work as freelance security persons in the hope of getting something more about their friends.
It's casino security. I mean, maybe it all started with them. They stumbled onto something big.
The casino's chief of security greets them warmly and promises to provide all the help they need to find their friends. He even arranges a suite for their stay. Reacher and the team speculate that their friends were working on some case related to scam money in the casinos, the amount of which is about 650K. The chief uses his contacts to dig deeper into this matter. In the evening, Dixon and Reacher enjoy some beautiful moments together. When they are outside on a walk, Reacher observes that someone is again following them. So, he runs with Dixon and hides behind a wall. But then the goons show their real faces and attack them. Reacher and Dixon take them to an isolated construction area and kill them all one by one. Reacher even buries the bodies inside the fresh cement so that there are no traces left. After that, they search their car for hints about their identification, but they only find the files in their own names, as if the goons have researched the special investigation team. Meanwhile, the boss named Langston calls the phone of one of the goons, but Reacher picks it up. Langston wants to confirm that the work has been done, but Reacher tells him that all his men are dead and now he is coming for him.
Then why are you the one that sounds scared?
Langston quickly turns the phone off. By watching the parking token in the car, Reacher learns that all the goons work for the company New Age Technologies. When they return to the hotel, Reacher and Dixon end up kissing and having intimate moments. The next morning, Reacher and Dixon meet with their other team members and tell them about the events of last night, how they were attacked, and then how they tackled them. Suddenly, there is a knock on their door, so they become conscious of it. On opening the door, they see that it's actually the casino's chief of security who has come with critical information about their friends. He has found out from his connections in the police that Sanchez and Orozco have already been abducted, murdered, and dumped in the same region of the mountains as Franz. He is also able to confirm that none of the casinos are missing money, so the numbers on the list must mean something else, and their friends were not working on some casino case. Hearing this, Jack obviously needs more guns for the upcoming fight. The ammunition provider reminds Reacher of the laws regarding guns, but Reacher shows him money and shuts his mouth.
Well, if it's good enough for God, it's good enough for me.
He understands that this matter is bigger than they imagined it earlier. Later, when the whole team is traveling in their car, police officer Russo, whom Reacher had beaten earlier, chases them. Russo stops their car and arrests Reacher, who assigns Neagley and Dixon to check out the New Age Technologies company at the time when Reacher is in custody.
None of that is remotely accurate.
David also goes with Reacher as a lawyer, but when they reach the police station, Russo, instead of charging Reacher, makes him sit on a chair and starts an investigation. He tells Reacher that he is the police officer working on the case of Franz and he was investigating the matter when Reacher beat him on the road without hearing a word from him. Hearing this, Russo and Reacher overcome their differences and decide to work together because now they are on the same side.
I'm no dirty cop.
Later, they deduce that Franz, Sanchez, and Orozco were investigating a case involving a terrorist who goes by different names with the initials A and M. They also discover that this terrorist collaborates with Langston in making a common plan which look even more dangerous. Meanwhile, Dixon and Neagley reach New Age Technologies, and there they meet Director of Operations Marlo Burns.
I'm Marlo Burns, New Age Director of Operations.
Who identifies the man who had been sent to kill them as Trevor Seropian and even gives them his address. Back in the hotel room, while examining all the evidence again, Dixon deduces that the list of figures discovered on the Franz USB represents days and months.
It's days and months.
She tells this information to the whole team, and later in the night, Reacher and his team arrive at Trevor's house. They make an entry by explosives in the house and ambush a group of henchmen inside. They eliminate all the henchmen inside one by one. But then, Reacher notices a car driving away from the location and chases it so that he can't escape. Reacher stops the car by smashing it with a barbecue stove. But the man inside has a heart attack on the spot and dies instantly. By checking the ID cards and other stuff from the purse of that man,
Who do you work for? New Age?
Jack realizes that they were set up by the New Age Technologies because Marlo gave them the address of the house full of mercenaries. After that, Reacher and his team make a plan to break into New Age Technologies to get their data because now they are sure that this company has involvement in all the murder cases. So, at night, they put masks on their faces and infiltrate the company's office, where they accumulate all the files and hard disks that they found useful. Also, Jack grabs a framed picture from their wall of the New Age team with Swan standing alongside Langston. This means that Swan had been working as an employee in that company, and now he is missing. After that, they analyze all the information they have obtained and find out that Swan was the one in the security team of New Age Technologies working under Langston.
He was working at New Age with the people who've been trying to kill us.
Also, the man who died due to heart attack earlier was also a security person. Neagley finds a secret message history between Swan and the chief of operations Marlo Burns, who gave them the address of Trevor's house. Reacher deciphers the emails and discovers a reference to a program called Little Wing,
A file on a federal defense project called Little Wing.
where New Age Technologies is working for the Department of Defense. Also, there is a senator named Lavoie who is involved in the Little Wing program and wants to give the green light to it. David goes on to use his unethical methods to obtain more information on Lavoie. Reacher's team is unsure whether they can trust Swan's innocence or not because, according to evidence, his involvement is evident.
Was Swan working with these guys or with these guys?
And also, he is not showing up to prove his innocence in front of his friends, though the people at his company say that he is alive and busy in the security operation of the company. However, Reacher is not ready to believe that Swan can do such a bad thing, even with his friends.
Swan's not dirty.
In a flashback, we see our special investigation team, after a successful raid, analyzing the seized drugs in their office. But the drugs are short of 1 pack.
47. One's missing.
All the members doubt that it would have gone missing in Swan's car, which brought that stuff to the headquarters. Also, everybody notices Swan talking about quick money, which he wants for a luxurious life. When Reacher checked the car of Swan, 1 packet of drugs was really there, which could get him rich in no time. But still, Reacher believed him and thought it was a mistake.
Back there when I was driving and gotten stuck.
Back in the present, Dixon and Neagley are trying to convince Reacher that he should not trust Swan blindly because he can be at fault in this case. But Reacher is still silent on this matter, showing concerns for Swan. After that, David, by using his means, has found out a legislative director, Daniel Boyd, who is working for the Senator Lavoie for carrying out the program of Little Wing. They must have to pay a visit to this man to extract further information. David has found out that Boyd is going to attend a music show where they can seize him. When Reacher and David go to the street drug suppliers to get some more money, Neagley and Dixon visit Marlo Burns at her home but find nothing except a large pile of money.
Who the hell goes on the lam and leaves their cash stash behind?
She fled while packing all her stuff in a hurry and even leaving the door of the house unlocked as if she were being tailed by someone. After that, Reacher and his team travel to Boston to get dressed well for the upcoming music show. There, Dixon uses her charisma to trap Boyd. When Dixon is busy persuading Boyd, Reacher and David are analyzing the lists of dates again. Reacher deduces that the dates are repeating them, and also, by playing with the numbers, they can see that a particular event has been happening on different dates repeatedly with the key figure 650.
650 at 100K each.
Meanwhile, they see that Boyd is completely under the charm of Dixon, and she is taking him with her towards her car. There, Dixon makes him sniff the drugs through his nose. As soon as Boyd sniffs the drugs, Jack's old friend Finley reaches there and arrests Boyd. He takes them to an interrogation room, and there, Reacher and David make their entry as special FBI agents.
This is Special Agent Blake.
In this way, he gets all the information that they need from Boyd. They find out that Little Wing is a code name for anti-missile software that New Age Technologies modified to make a portable surface-to-air missile launcher. By using this software, the missile will hit the target eventually, even if it misses the target several times. Once the target is locked, it will eventually be destroyed in one shot. Boyd also says that Senator Lavoie wants to use unethical means to pass the bill for these missiles to be used in defense of his country. After that, Reacher thanks his friend Finley and starts driving with his team to their next destination. But during the night, a biker gang attacks the whole team. Luckily, Reacher and his friends are able to quickly defeat the gang members quickly. Reacher uses one of the biker phones and tells Langston that he is coming for him and he wants to throw him from the helicopter as he did to his friends earlier. Langston even attempts to bribe him into going away, but Reacher refuses, and he wants revenge.
I want to throw you out of a helicopter.
The following day, Neagley and Dixon arrive at the New Age Technologies Denver office pretending to be FBI agents to check on the delivery shipments from the company. But then they came to know that someone had already picked up all the shipments shortly.
Someone had called me first.
Actually, the shipment is full of those missiles made by New Age Technologies, and it is being delivered to the terrorist AM. One of AM's henchmen stages the breakdown of another truck on the first truck's route and kills its driver. He opens the truck's trailer, revealing 3 other henchmen and the missiles in there. They also change the number plates of both the trucks on the AM order. In the meantime, Neagley and Dixon, who had been chasing the first truck, came upon the scene just after the henchmen switched the trailers. The henchmen, seeing them, even try to kill Neagley and Dixon. They all start shooting at them.
Oh, these dickheads!
And the first henchman drives off with the missiles, leaving the 3 behind who are continuously shooting at Neagley and Dixon. But Neagley and Dixon make it out alive and then kill all of them. In the paperwork Neagley and Dixon received from the manager of New Age's Denver facility, they learned that Swan had allowed the missiles to leave New Age. Also, they conclude that Swan's identity cannot be misused because the departure of this truck required the retinal scans of Swan, so he himself has allowed the shipment. Neagley and Dixon passes all this information about the truck full of missiles and Swan's hand behind it to Reacher. Meanwhile, Reacher and David visit Washington, D.C. and make a trip to the Department of Homeland Security for information on the terrorist AM. The officials from the Homeland Security Department tell Reacher and David that AM is like a ghost. They have no pictures of AM because he changes his identity very frequently, and still, no security department has been able to catch him. Reacher is sure that he will kill him soon.
Unless we kill them all first.
But the Homeland Security Department officials ridicule his confidence. In a flashback we see, Special Investigation Team is catching some criminals when one of them goes rogue and starts shooting at Reacher, but Swan is standing nearby. He quickly jumps in front of Reacher and takes the bullet himself before it reaches to Reacher. A man who can take a bullet for his superior official can never do such big mistakes in the later life. That's the thinking of Reacher now. Back in the present, when Reacher is walking alone on the sidewalk of the road, some officials come to take him with them to meet Senator Lavoie. Reacher sits with them in their car. After reaching to the designated location, Legislative Boyd is also there with Senator Lavoie. They have come to know that Reacher is not an FBI agent and that he just trapped Boyd to extract information from him. Senator Lavoie accepts that he used unethical means to pass the bill for those missiles so that they could come into the market for defense purposes earlier. If he did not use his means to let them into the Defense Department, then it would take them years to reach the hands of soldiers. But some people took advantage of that bill and are now going to sell those missiles to the terrorists. And Senator Lavoie also wants to tackle this matter in a better way. He offers his assistance in stopping a possible terrorist attack.
I'm not asking for your help. I'm offering you mine.
He even promises to provide Reacher with anything he needs to prevent the terrorists from obtaining the bombs because his name is associated with the deal and could cause legal consequences for him. Meanwhile, AM contacts Langston, and he wants quick delivery of the remaining shipment. Also, Langston wants to get the money he promised so that he can leave the country as soon as possible. The following day, the team members then head back to New York for Franz's funeral, where a pair of professional killers try to shoot Reacher and his friends. Reacher spots the killers in time and saves his team from them. Neagley gives cover to Reacher and also kills one of the shooters. While chasing the killers, Reacher collides with Detective Russo's car, and then they begin a car chase together to capture the second killer. When they succeed in catching them, Jack threatens to kill the assassin even in front of Detective Russo unless he helps them by giving the information of his hirer. The hitman reveals that he was hired by someone named Swan. Another piece of evidence goes against Reacher's own friend. In the night, Reacher and Neagley make a plan and send the killer to the abandoned building to collect his money for his work while they themselves wait outside. But as soon as the killer enters the building, the whole building explodes. Now everyone except Reacher is convinced that Swan is a traitor, and even Reacher starts to lose his confidence too. Now, they have only one person who can give them more information about the case. Russo gives the team a lead regarding the location of Marlo Burns. So, Reacher and the others now track down Marlo Burns and her little daughter,
Could track the IP address to her device and that'll lead us to their location.
who are currently on the run and hiding at the house of a friend. They interrogate her, and Marlo confesses that Langston forced her to obey his orders by threatening to hurt her child. Earlier, she gave Dixon and Neagley Trevor's address on Langston's orders. When she found out that Langston was making chips for missiles and selling them to the terrorists instead of the Defense Ministry, then Langston tried to shut her mouth by giving her a lot of money.
You did what I said, you make a lot of money and nothing would happen to you.
As Langston is the security chief of New Age Technologies, all the other employees are under him and cannot go against him. Marlo Burns also claims that Swan has always been against Langston's ideas and he tried to stop the selling of missiles to the terrorists. About the bag full of money at her house, Marlo says that she accepted it after being advised by Swan so that Langston can think that they are on his side. Reacher decides to use Marlo Burns as bait to meet Langston.
We'll find out soon enough. You just have to ask Langston.
So he makes her call Langston and asks him to meet. They decide on a place to meet up because Langston also doesn't want to leave any loose ends. He wants to kill Marlo Burns before she can cause any trouble for him. Reacher goes to Russo and tasks him with taking Marlo's daughter to a safe place until they capture Langston.
What am I, fucking babysitter now?
Russin is also in trouble because he thinks that his coworker, whom he told everything about the case, is involved with Langston. That's why the killers got the location of Franz's funeral and attacked them there. Russo was leaving to stay at his cousin's house for a day or two, so he also takes Marlo's daughter with him. Unfortunately, the hitmen of New Age Technologies attack Russo's car when Marlo's daughter is in his car. Russo gets anxious and calls Reacher and the team for help, who are setting a trap for Langston at that time. Langston quickly understands that it's a trap, and he starts attacking Marlo and others before stopping his car. Reacher sends his other friends to save Marlo's daughter and Russo while he himself stays there to counter with Langston.
Go find Jane. I'm not done here.
He kills Langston's goons one by one. He alone is enough for the whole Langston team. Reacher even bursts the tires of Langston's car so that he cannot flee from that place. Now Langston is the lone survivor, and he is hiding at the time. Reacher calls him out.
There's only one exit and you gotta get past me to reach it.
But he doesn't make an appearance, so Reacher rings his phone. But in the meantime, a helicopter comes there with a man shooting with a machine gun. The helicopter saves Langston and then takes him out of the danger of Reacher. On the other hand, Russo tries to survive in a tense car chase. Eventually, he tells the girl to run and sacrifices himself to distract the assassins. Before his last breaths, Russo was successful in killing the assassins who were attacking from the front. But still, one of the assassins has survived and is now pointing a gun at the daughter of Marlo. Luckily, Reacher's team arrives there to help on time. They smash the assassin with their car, ultimately saving the girl. Neagley runs to see Russo, but Russin is in pretty bad condition after receiving so many bullets in his chest. He dies in Neagley's arms. The following day, Reacher needs to provide Marlo and her daughter with a shelter where they'll have to hide because they are still in danger. So, Carla offers them to stay at her old friend's place. Reacher sends David and Dixon to escort them to the safe place, and he himself takes Neagley to pay a visit to Russo's co-worker, Officer Marsh, who is involved with Langston and also leaked the location of Russo last night. Reacher finds him packing his stuff as he wants to leave before he can be taken down by Reacher's hands. Seeing the Reacher at his house, Marsh first tries to play innocence, saying that he doesn't know about anything. Then suddenly, he tries to take his gun and attack Reacher, but our big guy is much quicker than him. He tortures the officer by crushing his legs behind the table. On investigation, it turns out that Marsh doesn't really know that much about the ammunition deal, but he tells Reacher about the person named Grant, who might know something useful. Grant is the same person who was hit by the car of Reacher's team last night for saving Marlo's daughter. Jack thought that Grant was dead, but he was actually in the hospital getting the treatment. Soon after, when Marsh wants to attack Jack once again, Reacher kills him on the spot. Undercover in the uniform of doctors, Jack and Neagley infiltrate the hospital and find Grant there in a room. They threaten to kill him, but Grant plays the innocence card that he doesn't know anything. Then, Neagley puts his heart monitoring leads on her own chest so that doctors would not notice any abnormality in his heart when they torture him. Reacher takes out a syringe and starts filling air into the urinary tube of Grant, which is very painful for him. It's so painful that the guy quickly spills about Langston's upcoming meeting with the terrorist AM. However, Reacher seeks revenge for Russo's death and kills Grant anyway. Before leaving the hospital, Jack and Neagley notice a suspicious man dressed as a doctor. The man starts running away after seeing Jack and Neagley, so they follow him. When Neagley finds him, they start fighting with each other, and he almost kills Neagley. But Jack appears there in time and saves her life. Unintentionally, he murders the man there and can't interrogate him, but they search his clothes and use his phone to call the recent dial to Langston. Reacher tells him that his man is dead and is sent to the hospital. Langston sent him to kill Grant so that there remained no loose ends that would endanger him later. To Reacher's surprise, Langston reveals that he has kidnapped David and Dixon and is keeping them at his place. Reacher and Neagley have to give themselves in if they want to rescue their friends. Here, Reacher plays a trick and tells Langston that Neagley is dead from the attack of an assassin at the hospital.
And she's dead.
And now he is alone. So, Reacher will surrender himself to freeing his friends. Langston agrees and sends the location of his place. In this way, Reacher gets some time to come up with a new plan. He calls Senator Lavoie and reminds him about their agreement. Reacher asks him for help as he is going to catch Langston at this time. At night, Neagley and Reacher check out the whole building and surroundings where Dixon and David are captured. Reacher heads to meet Langston and complete the deal while Carla and David are being tortured inside the building. Reacher starts the rescue mission and gives himself up to Langston. Reacher is brought inside the building, but Langston is not willing to free his friends.
Get him ready.
So, Reacher starts beating the goons of Langston. Seeing this, Langston shoots a bullet in the leg of David and presses his wound to stop Reacher. In the meantime, Neagley is killing the guards outside the building one by one. Senator Lavoie also informs her that he is sending assistance in the form of some soldiers there. Inside the building, Langston reveals that everything is going according to his plan, but then Swan comes in and wants to stop his mission. That's why Langston has to kill him along with his friends, whom Swan had already informed about this arms deal. Swan is dead, but Langston is going to put all the blame for his crimes on Swan.
Because now we use Swan to sign off on the paperwork.
His harvested body parts were used for DNA evidence to frame him as the designated fall guy. Langston also has kept the eye of Swan in a jar so that he can authorize all the illegal shipments in the name of Swan. Then Langston beats Reacher and demands that he tell him where Neagley is because he has learned from the hospital resources that there was only a dead body, and Neagley is missing from there. Meanwhile, Neagley creates a distraction, and Lavoie's people break into the building using the parachutes. They quickly start the gunfire attacking Langston's people. Seeing this, Reacher frees himself by using a nail from his boots and joins the fight. To save his life, Langston rushes to a helicopter with Carla and David already inside. Langston intends to escape and meets AM to get the remaining payment. Of course, Reacher will not let him go this way. He jumps and hangs himself with the helicopter's tire. When Langston opens the back door to throw David and Dixon from the helicopter,
Open the back doors.
Reacher comes inside. He attacks Langston and his bodyguards, and during the fight, a bullet is shot, making a hole in the body of the helicopter, which makes it lose its balance. Dixon almost falls from the helicopter, but Jack saves her at the last moment. Langston continues hitting Reacher while he is holding Dixon's stretcher with only one hand. Luckily, Dixon frees herself and comes back in the helicopter, attacking Langston with a knife. Now, even Langston realizes the hopelessness of his situation. Reacher keeps his promise and throws Langston from the helicopter down into the barren lands, ending his life on the spot. Then, together with his team, Jack sets a trap for the terrorist AM. They make the pilot fly the helicopter to the place where Langston is going to meet AM because the pilot knows the coordinates of that place. After reaching there, Reacher's team waits for AM, and when he arrives, they kill his assistant on the doorstep. They take AM inside, who tries to convince them that he is just a businessman and has never used any missile himself.
Fire the weapons. I'm the middleman. It's just business.
He is just helping make the deal of ammunition, but Reacher and his team don't listen to him and kill him. After that, only 2 men were alive. One was the engineer who was doing the technical work for the missiles, and the other was the pilot. Reacher asks them to run away as soon as possible.
Get out of here. Both of you.
When they both try to flee on the helicopter, Neagley tests the missile on the helicopter. And it turns out that Langston was right about his technology. In the last twist, the people of Lavoie point their guns at Reacher and his team, saying that they have been ordered by Lavoie to kill special investigators so that there remains no loose end for Senator Lavoie. However, Reacher has already planned something for Senator Lavoie too. Suddenly there comes the vehicles of the Army and the Homeland Security Department officials reach there and arrest the Lavoie's people. Also, some of the officials are present at the doorstep of Senator Lavoie's office, who, after getting the orders on the phone, make their entry inside and arrest Senator Lavoie for false playing while being a senator. Reacher, David, Dixon, and Neagley are free to go because they helped their country eliminate a terrorist. Also, they got $65 million, which the arms deal was going to hold. Reacher decides to give this money to the friends and relatives of Langston's victims. Some of them get checks for huge amounts, while others get it in cash. He also gives a large sum of money to charity and his team members without leaving anything for himself. They gather for the last time and also take a memorable picture together. His mission is over, and Reacher is ready to start a new journey. He makes love with Dixon for the last time. Dixon wants Reacher to talk to her parents.
I really want you to meet my parents.
But Reacher wants his free life again, one in which he doesn't remain in contact with anyone. Then he says goodbyes to Neagley, who claims that Reacher is more than a best friend and a team leader. He always keeps others at the front. Then, Reacher gets on the bus and rides into the beautiful unknown.